Welcome to Director Pepper Social Club on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where parks and recreation leaders share ideas, experiences, and leadership insights. Today, we're bringing you an inspiring conversation filled with lessons, strategies, and stories that make a difference. Every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where leaders connect and grow. In this episode, Papa J sits down with leadership expert Tracy Stayton to discuss communication, workplace culture, and leadership strategies that help parks and recreation teams become more connected, effective, and impactful.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Papa J Skinner from the Director Pepper Social Club. Good morning. A little late this morning. Had a problem with the computer, but you know what? Thanks to Carlo, Jovi, Craig, who's in the background, we're able to be here. So welcome to the Dr. Pepper Social Club. It's an opportunity for us to talk to professionals in the field on the business part of it, but really on the personal side. You know, what we do in recreation is very, Parks, Recreation, and Community Service is really important. But one of the things we need to look at too is how we communicate with each other. And so, Carlo, if you can bring up the picture of the fabulous four, how we started. So basically, the Dr. Pepper Social Club came out of four directors down here in Southern California. The gentleman across from me is Kevin the Hawk Hawkins, worked for the city of Temecula. And we had been talking about being able to get together outside of CPRS and NRPA meetings, because those only happen once a year, but we want to meet on a regular basis. One, to talk about our field, Parks, Recreation, and Community Services, but also to have a social connection, because we spend more time with the people at work than we do with our families. So we contacted a couple of people. The person to Kevin's, it would be his left, that is Jonathan Nix. And then to my right is Brian Ambrose. We went to lunch over at Black Bear in Murrieta. Kevin was there first. He ordered Dr. Pepper. I show up. I ordered a Dr. Pepper as well. Jonathan Nix showed up and ordered a Dr. Pepper, and then Brian Ambrose came and ordered a Dr. Pepper as well. So on April 4th, 2019, the Dr. Pepper Club was formed with these four agencies. Since then, there's been about 20 agencies that have joined the Dr. Pepper Club. And one of the reasons that we started, Kevin wanted to make sure that we started every meeting with, how are you and how are you doing? For each person that was there, because again, we spend more time here at work than we do, at home, and so we got to really get a real big kinship. So we wanted to do a show. Thanks to Craig, he gave me a call when I was getting ready to retire and says, "Hey, Papa J, how about bringing the Dr. Pepper Social Club to a podcast?" And here we are. I was looking, I'm like on my 7th show or 8th show. So I'm really excited about that. So to start off the show, we always start with some vendor infomercials that help us be able to bring the show to you. So Carlo, if you wouldn't mind running those, I'd appreciate it.
Art has the power to transform spaces, to inspire communities, to tell stories that connect us to one another. Across parks, public spaces, and gathering places around the world, creativity is bringing people together in new and meaningful ways. From murals and sculptures to music, dance, theater, and cultural celebrations, the arts help turn ordinary places into extraordinary experiences. Because Parks and Recreation isn't only about facilities and programs. It's about creating places where people belong, places where culture thrives, places where imagination comes to life. Welcome to Arts in Parks and Rec, the show that explores the people, projects, and creative ideas shaping the future of arts and culture in parks and public spaces. Hosted by Beatriz Eugenia Vázquez. Together, we'll discover how the arts strengthen communities, inspire engagement, and help create vibrant places for everyone. This is Arts in Parks and Rec, a DPRS Media Network original, where creativity meets community.
Thank you for that, Carlo. And it's great to have people like Beatrice who just came on. She's got a couple of great shows under her belt, and she brings in culture to this format, this Parks and Recreation and podcast format. Carlo, if you want to go ahead and bring up our great shows that we have that are available. Here's a whole list of what we have. When it started, it was actually just Craig, him and a mic, and calling different people. And now we've expanded to like 15 different show hosts. Anything from something like I do to John Prue, who does things on military recreation, to Wesley, who's after our show, who does aquatics, and everything in between. So definitely sign on to our site, LinkedIn, to see all the different shows that we have. And one of the things that we're also trying to do is get on YouTube. We're currently on YouTube right now, but we need to get to 1,000 subscribers. Once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll be able to go on live and do our shows live on YouTube. So please definitely sign up. You'll see the information there. If you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of different content as far as getting people signed up on YouTube. And we hope that you will come out and join us and become part of the DPRS family. So at this time right now, I'm pretty excited to introduce you to somebody who I had the privilege of meeting when I was at the city of Lake Elsinore, beautiful Lake Elsinore. And, when you get into management, there's always opportunities to improve. And if you think there's not, then you have a very serious problem about being a manager. And I was very fortunate that the management team at Lake Elsinore gave me an opportunity to meet our guest today. Her name is Tracy Stayton. Tracy when I first met Tracy, she was working with, I call it the pyramid, and that was what is it called? The pyramid down in San Diego that you work for.
The pyramid down in San Diego that I worked for.
Yeah, oh my goodness, now I'm drawing a blank. The excellence. What is it called?
Oh, the Center for Organization Effectiveness is one of my partners.
When I went down there, it was the pyramid. So I would drive down there and see the pyramid. I thought I was in Vegas and stuff like that. The Luxor or something like that. But Tracy worked for them as a consultant, and I was able to take a look at the way that I do my management and there we go. That's one of the pictures that actually is more recent. That's when I got my that silly award thing. But
silly award, well-deserved award, sir. Let's shine bright over there, okay?
Well, anyway, so but Tracy is near and dear to my heart because she was able to help me take a look at things and actually improve the way that I work with my staff and actually work with management, because that's one of the things that she really focuses on. So Tracy, on this show, what we do is go ahead and bring it back, Carlo. So on this show, I'm really big into Marvel and DC, more Marvel than DC, but they always talk about the superheroes' origin story, how they started, Thor or Black Panther or whoever, how they started to get where they're at. So what we would like to know is your origin story. Where did Tracy start? Because I know more about, because when I first met you, actually, you were working down in the San Diego area in recreation. So give everybody your origin story, so where you started at, in recreation and where you're at right now?
Okay, well, like everyone, there's sort of a winding path to get where you are. And if we're going to liken it to a Marvel character, and I admit I am not the most well versed in Marvel, but I believe like Spider-Man got bit by a spider, and then that's how he got his powers. And so we'll circle back to that bite that happened. But my origin story is that I started out as a lifeguard when I was 16 with Milwaukee County. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I was fortunate enough to have a job working in aquatics there and worked my way up to a director of one of the largest water parks in southeastern Wisconsin. And just so those of you that know, Milwaukee County covers the lakefronts and the pools and the water parks within the county. So we have Lake Michigan right there, kind of at an ocean. We're actually a part of USLA, or at least were at the time when I was there. And I didn't know that it was a career. If I'm being honest, like I had bosses, they're awesome, shout outs, but I had no idea that Parks and Recreation somehow was a career. I had my sight set on marketing and management in sports and entertainment. I had grown up really loving theater and really loving sports. And so I landed my dream job out of college. I worked with Disney on Ice and Ringling Brothers Circus, made my MBA, and eventually professional surfing out in Hawaii, where I got my master's degree. Like I mentioned, it's a winding road. And when I came out from my master's degree, we were sort of in the recession. And a lot of people in marketing specifically and in discretionary places were pulling back. And a lot of people were either without work or holding tight onto the jobs they had. And so I remarketed myself back into recreation, utilizing both my experience in aquatics in Milwaukee, and then also my experience in sports and entertainment to work at the Woollett Aquatic Center, which hosts USA Swimming Nationals. They've hosted the Olympics well before my time there, Pan Pacific Games, huge water polo tournaments. And so I had this like amazing connection between large scale events and recreation. And I found my home. Like I found recreation to be what fueled me, what passion I was super passionate about it. I loved the community that was out here in California. And I worked my way up to recreation manager, overseeing all the aspects in different agencies around Southern California. And that during that time, I got bit by the spider. And in my storyline, I would say that that spider was my passion for like feeding into other people, to helping understand how their goals fed into our larger goals, understanding how to be the best manager to other people to serve not only the team, but how that fit into the organizational structure. And that bite turned me into the entrepreneur that I am today. I had a Post-it note that was on my computer that said, I come to work to uplift and empower. And I thought, if that's my why am I not casting a wider net, wider web to more people in different agencies to help uplift and empower them to intentionally create leadership and culture where people thrive for the mission at hand. That's
wow.
the story.
that you know what? I'm writing all this stuff down. That was, and how you tied everything back to Spider-Man, that was really, really, really kind of awesome. So looking at your transition to where you're at right now, it's really, really interesting. There's so many, the Kevin Bacon 7 Degrees of Separation. My guest last week was Jason Alisade from Next Practice Partner.
What a great dude. Love him.
Yeah. But here's the separation is that you guys are Disney. He works at, he loves Disney. He talked about how he met at a conference, how he met somebody at Disney, and he's a big Disney head. I mean, we're actually going to do a show, and maybe you should be on that one too, around the Christmas time. He's got all these outfits that he puts on when he goes to Disney, and so I just my granddaughter, I have 4 grandkids, so my latest one is Delilah. She just turned 1 June 27th. So for her birthday, we went to Disneyland. Okay. And my 3 other grandkids came from Texas, and we went as a family. and really they loved it. I was so cool. I I I growing up in recreation, we always used to do day camp trips, and so we would go down to Disneyland. I love Disneyland. I love the marketing for it and what it does. I do not like pushy people, and so that's where my uh, split from Disney is. But I went for my granddaughter. I wore a shirt. Janelle bought me. My wife Janelle, who's my ride or die, she bought me a shirt because at work we would have "May the Force be with you," and so you wore your Star Wars shirt. So she got me one that said "May the Bass be with you," and so I wore it. And I actually have a picture, a couple of pictures of me with the Mandalorian, which is kind of cool,
Okay.
and me with a stormtrooper. So it was a very fruitful trip. I actually got to go to the cantina in Star Wars, so that was really kind of cool. So Tracy, how long have you had your own business, and what has been some of the highlights that you have had uh, in accomplishing your goals? Of course, besides me, because I'm one of your biggest fans. But let's hear about some of those accomplishments.
You're so sweet. And let me just say that the force is always with you, Papa Jai. Like the force
Yeah.
is always with you, and you
Oh
are a
wait, that's
force
Star
unto your.
Wars.
That's the yeah.
That's Star Trek.
That's
That's Star
track,
Trek.
right? That's track. Okay. Well, the force is always with you. So I don't even have to say may the force be with you, because I know it's always with you. And it's the reason that we're here today, right? Like you went from full-time working in Parks and Recreation and serving to serving in this wider capacity. And so the force is with you. It is strong. As for me and how I got to where I'm at right now, like I mentioned, I had a post-it note, and it literally was my why every day. Like, so when I pivoted out, and if I'm being honest, due to very poor management, I thought, if that's my why, then why am I not casting a wider net, doing what I love? I loved my team. I loved serving them. But after a while, you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I pivoted out and started my own company about 3 years ago, full time. I had been doing it part time prior to that, just with like here and there small trainings, some speaking engagements, things like that. But when you are on the right path, as the alchemist says, the universe conspires with you. And although my departure from my last agency was less than ideal due to the environment that I was in, the universe was conspiring with me. It wasn't happening to me; it was happening for me, and it is why I'm here today, so that other people can hopefully have better experiences, know better, create better, and know that there is better.
Yeah, one of the things, and it really resonates. People don't leave good jobs; they leave bad management.
100%.
And if you have a great job, but the management is not there to support you, excuse me, it makes it more of a challenge to go to work rather than a privilege to go to work. I've been working in the field for a very long time. I think you might have heard. I started at 7.5 years old volunteering in Parks and Recreation, and I've been going through, and I've had some really amazing managers and management staff. And I've also had those that say, "Wow, how did you get where you're at right now?" But I'm fortunate that I've had some really, I think we've had this conversation before. I've had a lot of women managers that I owe my career to, my boss ladies, and they've always, and you're one of them too. So my boss ladies have always looked at it and said, Papa Jay, how can we get you to where you want to be? What is that? I can't read that.
Says boss lady. It was a gift from one of my staff members.
There you go. And I'm telling you, Julie Conway, who is one of my original boss ladies, she was a director in Reno when I started. And we just went to lunch, and I posted that on my LinkedIn. So you need to go to my LinkedIn.
Okay.
And she goes, do you need to, do you remember when we met? I go, yeah. Do you remember what you said? I said, yeah, I think I said hi. She goes, yeah, you said hi, but then I asked you a question. I said, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? And she said, without a beat, you said, I want to be a director. And she says, okay, now we know the path. And so she was able to give me those opportunities for success, as I say, working for the city manager, actually. And when his assistant went out, I was able to do the assistant work while I was also running day camps and aquatics and those kind of things. So, having that right person at the right time to give you that push. Uh, there was another guest that I had on, Chris Daste, who's one of my dear friends, but he's also the one who, he's not a lady, but he's pretty cool. He gave me that push. I was working for him in Santa Clarita, and went into his office one day, and he goes, "Skinner, you got four months to get out of here, or I'm going to fire you." I'm like, "Oh." But he explained what he was talking about. He said, you have potential that you're not really doing here. You're doing a great job here, but you're kind of pigeonholed in what you're doing. So I'm going to give you opportunities to get to the next level, which got me um, into Tahoe. I was in Incline Village, and then eventually working for Mary Beth Anderson over there, who helped me get to the next place of Reno, and then so on and so forth. So, you know, recognizing, supervisory support is really, really huge. And I appreciate those people that brought me to where I'm at right now. But back to the world famous Tracy. So you work with a lot of different agencies, and if you guys want to see how a self-made person gets to that next level, definitely go and look at Tracy's LinkedIn. While she was gone on vacation, she's sitting there, and she didn't have signal, and she was still texting me. I don't know if she did it by smoke signal or whatever, but she has that kind of responsibility to past clients and friends and those who have, like myself, a podcast that I need to have great people on. She's able to do that. So how are you able to work with various agencies and not get them confused while you're doing your trainings? And if you could, Carlo, could you put up the first one with Tracy and the group that she's with? It's about
Let me
10,
see what you
15.
got.
Yeah, got
Oh, there we go.
it.
The Leadership Academy or a Supervisor Academy graduation day, I believe. And so we were just having a lot of fun celebrating these folks who gave of themselves for 5 full days of training, not consecutive, but 5 full separate days over the course of a couple months. And these superstars shine bright. I loved working with this group, and this is actually a mixed bag of individuals. They're not all from one agency, but from different agencies within a county. So they all came together to create this. And I did this in partnership with the Center for Organization Effectiveness. So that is sort of how my business is. I have my own individual clients. I have some partners like the Center for Organization Effectiveness that bring me in as a consultant and to lead trainings like this and powerhouse presentations as well. And then I have other, like I said, individual clients. So that is a Supervisor Academy graduation brought of a bunch of different agencies that all came together to invest in their people.
So this one here, where's this one at?
This one is at a women's conference. So it was put on by the city of Irvine, and it was open to the public. And I decided to go pour into my fellow women. And this person in the middle here, she was the keynote speaker, and she lit the room on fire with such an inspirational speech that I had to go, like, she moved me. And, when you are someone that gives keynote speeches like I do, and you see someone else shining bright, you just want to go share light with them. And so myself, this woman next to her, Christine, and I went and just let her know, because you don't know how you affect people unless they tell you, and you don't know how you're affecting others unless you tell them, or they don't know how they're affecting you, right? Like, we need that communication. That's a big tenet of what I do. And so one thing that people have heard me say over and over, it's kind of a core belief, is that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle, and we all shine brighter together. So this woman was shining bright, and I wanted to share some of my light with her, and in turn let her know that I received her light, and we were all shining quite bright that day.
Well, you mentioned shining bright and recognizing the little things. Carla, can you bring up the little things picture, if you wouldn't mind? Yeah.
Little.
So you had posted something on your LinkedIn about the little things, and I really love this one because if you can see it, you know how celebrities have their own parking spots. Well, guess what? This celebrity had her own parking spot. Talk about this picture. I love this picture.
I just, so much joy, right? I was invited by the city of Oceanside to come in and lead their summer kickoff training, or one portion of it at least. And when I rolled up unsuspecting, I had this VIP parking spot. And let me tell you, you can see the joy on my face. I was like, I've made it. This is amazing. And my post is about how if they're doing this little thing for me, like, what other amazing little things are they doing for their community, for one another, right? I read this book by Lee Cockrell, Disney, by the way, and one of the tenets in it is something he calls ARE. And I have turned that into like, are you doing that for your staff? Or what are you doing for your community? And ARE stands for appreciate, recognize, and encourage. And so, like, are you doing that in big and little ways? And no one ever says, right, that I'm appreciated, recognized, and encouraged too much. And so this was a little thing that really made me feel special in the moment and lit my light.
Yeah, I love that because there's something I started to do a long time ago is putting that out to the universe is that we need to do more art is you know uh, acts of random niceness or or
Kindness
kindness.
or
Yeah,
care,
so
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, so I would do art all the time on my LinkedIn, and every once in a while I would just post something like, Tracy and I had a conversation, and she really helped me with this one situation, and I'll be speaking actually at NRPA and doing one
Congratulations.
exactly with uh, Nikki Ginger and Sven Left,
Great.
and
That's amazing.
we've done this one a couple of times in a couple of different areas, but we're updating it. And appreciation is really underrated. You have individuals like you and I who really love to be that rah-rah person. I took a one of those tests actually through the organization effectiveness um, on
Your strengths. Let me
your
guess, you were
strength.
woo. Were you woo? Do you have woo?
Number one woo, number one woo,
No
and
surprise.
so at situations where there's troubles that people have call in, and when we talk about the during the pandemic, and we had the poppy bloom, which was really kind of hard for us because we never had in Lake Elsinore, we've never had 70,000 people a day come into the city because the
Crazy.
poppy that come out, was a world phenomenon that we had. And so when people would come in and call to argue, they would call, do the call up for, Papa J to come in and be the cooler for these people. Because I love to listen to people and I let them get through what they need to. And then I go ahead and try to show them the positives of the conversation, even though if we've done something wrong, we'll be the first to admit it. But then we try to get them to a place of understanding. And so I feel very fortunate that my parents gave me that ability, that superpower to be able to talk to people and get them to calm down, basically. And so that was one of my one of my things that I was known for at Lake Elsinore is being the cooler over there. So, how many agencies would you say since you started that you've worked with, and what has been like the real underlying theme that you see that organizations need to work at to get better?
The number, I don't know. I can't even begin to quantify that. And it's not just public agencies that I work with. Like I also work with private agencies. I'm going to a well-known entity up in LA on Monday to lead a session with them on creating better connection and communication with their team using insights discovery. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say their name or not, but you've all heard of them.
Whatever you want to.
Yeah, I mean, per their rules and regulations, some of the companies that I work with, you're not allowed to state their names because they don't want anything outside of what they want out there, and privacy stuff. I get it. So I'm working up there in LA. That's a public company. And so it's really hard for me to quantify just the public agencies or just the private agencies, excuse me, or just the public ones, but a lot. And in addition to that, like speaking at national conferences, I just spoke at the Association for Talent Development National Conference up in LA in May. I hosted the Women of Impact stage at EarthX. And really, to answer your other question there, like what is the big theme or what does everyone need to work on? And I mean, communication is the baseline for everything, right? One of the things that I like to share in some of the trainings that I do is that or uncommunicated expectations are predetermined resentments. And so if you're not clearly explaining what you need, whether it be from an employee and what that expectation is of the person that is on your team or a team member or your wife or whoever, right? Like if you're not explaining what your needs and expectations are, you're going to resent them for not giving you what you need, and they're going to resent you because they're like, but I didn't know, right? So the underlying tenet of everything is communication. People like to call that a soft skill. That's that EQ part of things. And the soft stuff's the hard stuff, right? Like the soft skills, talking about feelings, having difficult conversations, and then a part of that is also like intentional leadership and intentional communication and creating the blueprint and building strong human structure to meet the goals and visions as you've set forth.
You see why I have her on here, guys, is because she's so cool. So listen, we're gonna take a break real quick. Carlo, if you want to go ahead and run our mid episode reel, and we'll come back with Tracy.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs, we're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Carlos. So those are some of our sponsors that help us in DPRS put things on. Outdoor Link, that's Dave Ramirez. Dave Ramirez actually has a show here called Smart Links or Smart Parks. It's really great. So Outdoor Link, if you have a facility that has technology with it and you get a call, I'm at home and somebody says, hey, Papa J, the door is open. I'm able to go online and be able to close the door or turn on lights. So that's really a great company that if you have those kind of resources, you're able to take care of it and make sure it's safe. The other one is for youth sports. That's Aaron Locks, who has youth sports mastery. He is the guru of youth sports. If you have an organization that you are looking at getting youth sports in, he can do a turnkey program that can come in and run it for you. Those are some of our sponsors. And you know, if you're a vendor that is looking to reach a wide range of recreation companies or municipalities, we have thousands and thousands of people watching these different shows. If you're a vendor who's looking at being part of the DPRS family, we have those kind of opportunities. We'll be talking about those, in later shows coming up. But there are those opportunities. So back to the world famous Tracy.
World famous.
I didn't say infamous. I said world famous.
No, I know, but world.
I'm serious. So, you're based out of California, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how do you? I've seen your webpage, and you guys need to see your webpage. It's pretty great. So, give us your webpage and some of the information that's on there.
Sure. My website is www.tracystayton. You can see my name on the screen, .com. Kept it simple. Luckily, no one had it. I'm kind of like Tigger. There's only one of me. So pretty easy to find on LinkedIn or any other socials, although LinkedIn and my website are the two that I use most for business. Probably need to get my TikTok, Instagram, Facebook game going, but there's only so many hours a day. And so here we are. And I'm actually going through, my website will be rebranded, but what's essentially on there right now is how to get a hold of me, the things that I offer, the services, which is customized trainings for people, whether that be how to present better to council or just in general, leadership trainings, conflict management, difficult conversations, accountability, things like that. I customize trainings for all of my clients to make sure that we're meeting the needs. And the way that we do that is through something that's not yet on my website, but it's on my LinkedIn, and that is through awareness, agility, and alignment. So the three pillars of a strong organization or a strong plan. Awareness, what are you doing well? Where do you need to massage things? Where do you need to shore up? No deferred maintenance, right? Okay. And then agility, how flexible are you and amenable are you and your team to making the necessary changes to shore yourselves up, to create that strong foundation and structure? And then that alignment, how do we actually build it?
Wow, that's amazing. So you guys really need to go on and take a look. And if you go into LinkedIn and type in Tracy's name, you will see all the different kinds of interactions she has with, like she said, some businesses, some cities, but with individuals themselves. So Tracy, you've been in the business for a while. Mm-hmm. Have you had those individuals that you started out with and then years down the line now, have you had anyone that really sticks out in your mind that has come up to you and said, wow, this is what you've done for me?
I have been fortunate enough to have people share with me how I've affected them. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to encourage any of you out there that if you have someone that made a positive impact in your life, and maybe they do or don't know it, just tell them again. Like, send them a little note, write them a handwritten card. Oh my gosh, like, send it to their agency. Send them a text if you're close. Like, just let them know the positive impact they made. One that I can think of very clearly was early on in my career. I was working in Milwaukee County. I had a individual that was on my team, part-time employee, and there was a lot of accountability conversations that needed to happen with this individual to ensure that the expectations were clear, right? I had another employee tell me that I was firm but fair. And I thought, best compliment ever, right? Like, you know what you're intended to do, and everyone is held to the same standards. So I had a lot of accountability conversations with this other employee. And I'm sure that I wasn't a friend. And there is a difference between friendship and leadership and relationship, right? They're not all the same. And so we need to be cognizant of what our role is in management. And it's not always friendship. So lots of accountability conversations, lots of documentation. I knew that I wasn't his favorite person, but the expectations were clear and he wasn't meeting them. And so I had the difficult conversations. And years later, I'm talking 15 maybe years later, this person slid into my DMs on Facebook, found me on Facebook, because like I said, I'm Tigger. And he was like, hey, I'm sure you probably remember me. And I just want to let you know that, like, you were really hard on me, or so I felt at the time, but you gave me guidance and pride in my work. And the ability, you helped me lay that foundation to become the man that I am today. And I am now XYZ rank in the military. And I thought, wow, like, what a gift you've given me, because those times were not easy. Those conversations were not easy. They weren't things that I enjoyed doing, right? But it helped him. And so when we're not having those conversations, whether they be the R conversations, like those appreciate, recognize, and encourage, or the course correction conversations, like when we're not communicating, we are doing a disservice to ourselves and the other people that we serve.
Yeah, I'm smiling because it's so true that down the road you'll get those things. I'll tell two really quick stories. When I was with the city of Santa Clarita, we had a youth and government program that I helped to start, and we had a student that was in it. Ended up being the Mock City, the mayor for the city, and so he went on to go to college at USC. And a couple of years down the line, he says, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm XYZ." And because of what I learned through the youth and government program, and because what you taught me, I ended up getting a teaching degree because I wanted to teach kids about government. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I went there. And so that right there was my why. Everybody, you talk about your why, find out what your why is. The most recent one happened here at Lake Elsinore when I was with Lake Elsinore. It was another youth and government program that we had. We had just started it, and we actually got an endowment for $1 million to give out scholarships to kids. And so one of the students, Brandon Fuente, did the program for 2 years. He can do it as a junior and a senior. Well, he started as a junior in the city clerk's office. He's one of those that he did the program. He would come at summers to volunteer in the city clerk's office. When he was a senior, we did two types of scholarships. One was $4,000 for 4 years for those who were going to college, and then we had one $6,000 a year for 4 years for those going into ROTC or the military. So at my retirement party, I actually invited him because I love this kid. He's like my grandson, and he told a story about how he was going to the ROTC and he was getting ready to apply to colleges and for this other scholarship. So he was talking to the military about it, and he said, he called me Mr. Jonathan and said it. Well, Mr. Jonathan taught me how to do a proper handshake, and he taught me about getting on LinkedIn, and he's still on LinkedIn today. And he taught me about having a portfolio. And after I finished the interview, he said he had never seen somebody so polished, and he was so impressed that he said, what college do you want to go to? Says, my heart's really set on UCLA. Says, you're going to get a call this afternoon. He got a call from UCLA, graduated from UCLA, went into the Air Force, then went into Space Force, got stationed in Alaska, and he guided the satellites going around, around the world. He then just recently was promoted to lieutenant within 6 years of graduating from high school, and he credited the city. I was really humbled. I kind of cried when he was telling the story. He says, I really want to thank, Mr. Jonathan for giving me those tools to make me be successful. So like you, when you have those people come back, and it's like, sometimes I do this. I question myself. Am I what am I doing? Is it really helping the people in the community that I should be helping? That example was one of those that said, yes, you know what? I actually did do some stuff in my life that was really rewarding to myself and those people that I've helped train. Now, from a personal standpoint, after retiring, one of the people I reached out to was Tracy, and I was like, well, Tracy, you know what? Papa Jay's kind of out of a job right now, and my wife got honeydew. Oh my God, Justin Clack he's a friend of mine that I used to work with, and he talks about being in the military and stuff. So this is a live show, by the way. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. That if you have a question or something like that, you can type it in, Tracy, and I'll be happy to answer. She's going to be on the show again. God, I lost my train. Where was I at? I lost my train.
You were talking about how you called me when you were going to go into retirement.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to retirement, and I said, you know what, Tracy, my goal is to really fail retirement because I love what I do. And she gave me some really good pointers and had those kind of tough conversations with me on, okay, decide on where you want to go and what you want to do. And here's some ideas and that kind of stuff. So when she talks about having those kind of tough conversations, she was firm but fair. I like that, firm but fair. But she gave me the realization to have confidence in myself and still be able to fail forward. And so, like, this podcast is a great idea. It came into my lap from being on Craig's show, being a guest, and that's another story altogether. But I'm utilizing those tools that you gave me to improve myself and go forward, speaking the benefits of parks, recreation, and community services. So what has been, because we always have those successes, but those opportunities for success, not failures, but opportunities for success. What have been some of those challenges that you've had to deal with, and especially getting a company up and running and maybe going down a path and figuring out, oh, wait, that's not the right path?
Yeah, there's a lot of pivoting that happens when you move into entrepreneur life, or just life in general, right? You got to pivot. Life gives you stuff. You got to pivot. And I think first thing was kind of getting out of my own way, if I'm being honest, right? We all have this huge fear of failure. And when I lead trainings and we talk about why we're not doing a lot of things, like whether it be having the difficult conversations or getting into public speaking, things like that, people often are like, well, I'm afraid of failing. And FAIL, the acronym for like fail, is FAIL, how we spell it, right? First attempt in learning, right? FAIL. So like once I started realizing that like if I failed, it was just more information and I could make a new decision, that helps me get out of my own way. Now, am I perfect at that? No. Like, do I need other people to help, encourage me? And, are they helping me? Most of my friends and connections like you, Jonathan, are helping me kind of re-elevate or relight my light when I need some. So I think that was like that's one of the biggest things. And that's pretty much in anything in life, is like getting out of your own way. There's a couple of other quotes that inspired me. I think that it is Mel Robbins that said, you must be committed to the process, not just the dreaming. So what was my process? Like how was I going to get to where I wanted to go? And like, first of all, did I know what that looked like? right? You can't get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. So it's like you can't recalculate like your GPS if you decide the destination has changed, right? But like you have to at least have somewhere you're headed, even if you take a circuitous route to get there. But you have to be willing to do the work and then kind of get over your fears, I guess. Like there's another quote that says, and I don't know who said this one, but I'm not going to take credit for it. It says, be brave enough to scare yourself, but nope. Yeah, be brave enough to scare yourself, but not to be afraid of yourself. Like do the thing that scares you. Like if you see someone doing something and you're like a little bit jealous or it seems scary, like that's a point that it's like, hey, wait, like, why do I feel that way? Like, oh, because that's something that I might want and it seems scary, but like, I'm not afraid of me, right? If I fail at it, it's just learning and it can recalibrate my direction or pick another path or whatever. So, yeah.
No, I totally love that. One of the sayings or not quotes, but imposter syndrome. A lot of times we go in there and it's like, am I really a director or can I really do? And, I'm currently going through that. Can I do this podcast thing? And every week, people like yourself and Craig and the other 15 podcasters reinforce each other to say, you know what? It's okay if you make a mistake. Craig, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. When we started having conversations, Craig goes, Jonathan, my first 50 pod episodes were like not my best, but I'm able to go in and improve on how we're doing, on how I was doing, and now I have this library of things I can look at and go, I could have done this better, and I improve it for the next show. The failing forward. The My staff knows when I talk about opportunities for success. If you're not really trying, if you're not failing, not really trying. You're just being a cookie cutter, and we don't really need that. We need you to be, I hate saying outside the box, but outside your comfort zone. This right here, I love talking to people, but having to do, I have a run a show, and Carlo, thank you so much, and Joey, thank you so much for doing that run a show. I have it over here, and I'm looking at it, making sure I'm on time. But you can learn from those things and get better each time that you go. So.
You absolutely can. And like one thing I just want to jump in really quick is you were talking about how Craig said at the beginning, like his first ones weren't great. He's better. I think sometimes we do perfection over progress. Like progress is really the thing, right? And Malcolm Gladwell, love him, right? If you've never checked him out, leadership information there. He says practice isn't the thing you do once you're good. It's the thing you do that makes you good. So like whether you're looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo out on the court for his free throw shots and, his prowess in basketball, he was a Milwaukee Buck. He's being traded to the Heat, by the way. But he didn't just get good because all of a sudden he woke up and was like, I'm good at basketball, right? Or anyone, Taylor Swift, she wasn't selling out SoFi, right? Off the jump, she was like in her bedroom with her cords, probably getting calluses, right? So whether your goal is to be that level or what, you have to start somewhere, and progress over perfection is where people miss. They're like, I'm not going to, they don't put that process into place. They love the dreaming. We love the dreaming. But if you're not practicing and being humble enough to like make a mistake, fail, get out of your own way, then like you get what you settle for and you're not going to make progress.
Yeah. I when I think about it, Michael Jordan, he got cut from high school. He got cut from his high school basketball team, and he won't say it, but he's the GOAT, it was something that he had to work at. He had, what was it? He had missed so many percentages of the game-winning shot. All they really focus on is the one that he actually won. They're not looking at the ones that he missed, that he had to go ahead and practice to make sure that next time that happened, he had a better percentage of making it. So that is so true. This is why I have people like this on. They reinforce the things that we know, but they put it in terms for us to definitely understand. So Tracy, this time has went so quick. We're going to have you on again. So do me a favor, give everybody your contact information right now. And
Sure.
listen, everybody, you need to rewatch this show. There's so many different quotes in it. I'm gonna have to watch it like 6 times to get all these things. And I don't steal, I creatively acquire. So, Tracy, give me your information.
Sure. You can reach me at Tracy at tracystayton.com. My name's on the screen, last name Stayton. Super easy to reach out to me. LinkedIn, same thing. Tracy Stayton is the easiest way to get a hold of me. And my website, tracystayton.com. So as long as you can remember my name, you can find me.
Well,
I'm not
thank you so
hiding.
much. No, she's not. And if you see her at a conference, she's the kind of person that if you don't come say hi, she will find you and she will make sure that you say hi. So, before we end, I have a friend, Court Jones, who works for NRPA. Have the national conference coming up. He had done this reel that I really liked yesterday, and I did a little mock up of it as well. Carla, if you can play that reel about signing up for NRPA. It's really short, 17 seconds, but basically what it says is registration is going on now. You have until August 7th to sign up at this current price, and then August 8th, the price goes up until you get to the conference. Tracy has spoken at NRPA. I've spoken at NRPA. It's a great opportunity for you to go out and see recreation at its best. The exhibit hall is awesome. The sessions. Tracy, are you speaking this year?
I am not speaking this year. No, I missed the deadline to apply. So I won't be speaking, but I have it on my calendar. I failed there, first attempt in learning. Put the deadline stuff on your calendar and about when it's going to open so you don't miss your opportunities, right? So I missed out this year, so I won't be speaking, but hopefully next year.
Yeah, so I have two. I'm speaking with Nikki and Sven, and then I'm also speaking with Liddy Gutfield, and it's about funds for programming, but partnerships that you can create through this funding for programs. Next week, I'm very excited. I have Jim Yule. Jim Yule is a writer. He has written a couple of books. I was just reading his Stop Being Nice. It's on the title is deceptive because it's really about empowering yourself. So he's going to be on. He has a couple of books, and we're going to talk about those. After this, I'm very excited that we have the Aquaman. I call him Aquaman. Wesley King with the Aquatics Life. There he is. He has a show coming up on the half hour. It's going to be really exciting. I want to thank you all for being here on the Director Pepper's Social Club. As I say at the end of it, go out and make a memory. That's what we do in our field and in life. So go out and make a memory. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
It's not just water. It's responsibility. It's leadership. It's not just drowning prevention or water safety. It's life. And every day, aquatics professionals make decisions that save lives. Because aquatics is more than swim lessons. It's community, it's creativity, it's impact. For over 30 years, aquatics hasn't just been my profession, it's been my life. I've seen the challenges, the pressure, the grind, but I've also seen the power of great leadership and what happens when communities come together. This is where education meets entertainment, where real conversations happen, where aquatics professionals come together to learn, lead, and grow. Because aquatics should bring people together. This is Aquatics Life, streaming on DPRS Media Network.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? DPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders, an audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through DPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with DPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention.